ጠይቀዋለሁ ሰባቱ ሰማያታትን እኮ የወረስን ባለርስቶች ነን እንዳትረሽ እሱንም እድሜ ለሄኖክ I'm from Ethiopian Tribune. What's your name and when did you join the hunger strike?
My name is Mursah Sahibzada and I actually joined I'm on day 3 of the hunger strike, but I became interested in this issue a few days before that.
What led you to be interested?
Well, actually, it was by accident. I go for jogging, so I was running past, and then I saw this protest, and so I asked for what it's about. And I actually have a journal. So initially, I simply wanted to have a paper. I requested a paper, I think from Yodis I met, and I requested a paper for my journal. So that was how I became interested. I requested a paper and then I started reading about it. And then I was completely unaware of this genocide taking place. So I started reading about it and I realized how serious the situation is.
I mean, well, with regards to calling it genocide, the officials back home, they wouldn't call it genocide.
Yes.
They will obviously, whenever they have a media feed, they call it as communal clash, some kind of ethnic clash and so forth. They never address it as genocide, but it seems you've bought the idea that there is genocide happening in Ethiopia. What kind of information, solid information, you have there to call it genocide?
I mean, there is a genocide convention, and genocide in law is also covered by the Rome Statute. So if you look at the genocide convention and the Rome Statute, and you read what are the articles of those conventions, it is very clear, you know, it matches all the categories. In fact, it's quite interesting because the Genocide Convention is much broader than what is going on here. I mean, what is going on here is an extermination, virtually. You can say it's similar to the Jewish Holocaust, where they're seeking to actually eliminate a people. So the Genocide Convention and the Rome Statute covered what they call genocide. Is actually a much broader term. It covers things like I need to access it, but what I'm saying is that actually this is more serious than the genocide as it's defined legally is more broad than this. It includes the extermination of people, yes, but it also is more broad in terms of less serious crimes. So this is very serious. This is genocide of the caliber of the Jewish Holocaust.
The highest grade.
So you have other genocides which are, for example, ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
Population transfer, these kind of things, and cultural genocide and other types of genocide. But this is more serious. So this is easy to classify as a genocide because it's the worst genocide. And you know, I don't like to make a hierarchy of genocides, but there is in a sense a hierarchy of genocides, and the most serious type of genocide is the Jewish Holocaust type of genocide, where they're trying to exterminate a people. So it fits into that category, the savagery, you know, the killing, basically.
I really appreciate that. The other thing I'm trying to get from you is that at the end of this process, you and the compatriots here, what would be the goal to achieve? I mean, what would be the set of goal? For instance, would you expect some kind of positive attitude, let's say, from 10 Downing Street or from any institutions, quote-unquote, international communities?
I think from my point of view, because I'm a British citizen, I'm interested in... So from my point of view, as a British citizen, I want to try to put pressure on the authorities, religious, political, whatever, to recognize this as a genocide. So once that happens, then, you know, maybe international mechanisms for...
To kick in.
Yeah, kick in. But it has to be first recognized. And they have recognized, you know, they've made statements recently since the Ukraine war started that this is a genocide. And they've declared other conflicts not as ethnic conflicts but as a genocide, where essentially one ruling regime is committing the vast majority of crimes against another ethnic group that is the one that is the victims. So once you recognize that it's not simply one versus another, it is really a situation where you have a very strong ruling elite that is committing the crimes against a weaker ethnic group. So that needs, once that is recognized, then we have a chance.
And how do you see our sisters who made the decision? Judith traveled all the way from Swiss. My sister traveled all the way from Scotland. So what they're doing is that they're becoming the voice for the voiceless,
yes,
so to speak. But these are the victims, heinous crime victims, genocide.
Yes.
So they were so bold to put the picture, to take the initiative on board, and here they are, and then you've joined them. So how do you see their so-called initiative on this matter, which, because you ultimately have joined them, you must have seen some kind of
well, that's
element.
the reason why I joined. I was so inspired by what they are doing, and it's quite a human achievement to reach 10, 11, 12 days of a hunger strike.
Yes.
I mean, it really attracts attention. And I want to, in terms of their voice, I want to, because I'm a writer, I'm an editor of a journal, I have those skills. I want to be able to project their voice in some way in the UK. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I myself have kind of questioned them like you're questioning me about all the issues, and I'm trying to work it all out. I also want to write about their personal stories. So one in particular, one person in particular, I'm hoping to write their personal story. Not these guys, but another person I spoke to who was here. I want to write this personal story. I witnessed this, suffered this, whatever. And through that personal story, I want to be able to tell the whole story of Ethiopia and all the people who have suffered. I want to project their voice.
That's great. I mean, I know it's getting a bit shady, but my camera is okay to take the picture, to take the film. So I'll probably keep you for a couple of minutes. And I notice that you haven't had any solid food. Is that right? For the last 3 days. And how do you feel? And I mean, physically, is it the first experience, or have you had
it's
any?
It's not the first experience, but I haven't done it for this long so far. So that's one reason why, from a purely selfish point of view, that's one reason I started doing this fast. I call it a fast, sorry. In religious terms and in scientific terms, it's called a fast.
Yes.
It's not called a hunger strike.
Right.
So for all the religions, they fast. They have fasting seasons.
Yes. At the end, they get the reward, isn't it?
And they get the reward, exactly.
Spiritually,
right.
that is. Yes.
No, but in terms of, and from the scientific point of view, there's a lot of papers being published about this now. From a scientific point of view, fasting is of great health benefits. So from a purely selfish point of view, I just decided to follow their lead and see how it benefits me personally. You know, in health terms, in mental, lucidity, you become very clear-minded.
That's what she said as well. I mean, I wonder what it is.
It depends on person to person. I've been reading up about it. It depends on person to person. But some people become very clear-minded, very lucid. So I want to know how long that lasts. You know, whether I will reach a limit and then I will start talking gibberish. You know what I mean? And I want to know how it affects my health. I have certain inflammations in my body and it will help with that. I have certain growths or tumours in my body. It will eat up the tumours. This has been being studied scientifically. So I'm very interested in that and in the benefits I will achieve personally, you know, from being on this hunger strike and how long I can last. You know, it's an interesting, these guys, I can't believe what they did.
Well, yeah, I mean, every day I used to come until the last 4 days have been away, but yes, I've noticed the way they've lost, they've started to get the trim look, you know, so I've noticed that Yodit also have lost weight. The first time I took a picture of her and I was looking back, I've noticed a change.
Yeah.
I don't know whether if she's noticed it. Have you actually noticed any change within you?
Within me?
Yes.
I have, you know, I'm quite lucky, quite fortunate compared to these guys. They were sleeping here. I can go home. I live very close and sleep for 12, 13 hours or something. So, yeah, I feel great. I mean, I get a full night's sleep and I feel rejuvenated a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, they haven't had the good night's sleep for the last 12 days.
It's been tough for them. I don't know how they've done that. But I think getting a good night's sleep, I'm a great advantage to them, and yeah, I feel great.
Apart from this, coming out from the so-called comfort zone to this, it's quite a decision. I mean, you've made the decision to be with them, to the people you have had no connection, I understand, before, but because of humanity, you're here.
Well, it was because I wanted a paper. I wanted a paper for my journal.
Right, yeah.
And then I became more and more and more interested.
Yes. So you're making, of course, you're making a statement for the voiceless as well, because they feel great about you taking a part, and literally they're asking other Ethiopians for kind of passing by rather than getting involved, raising the issue and so forth. So for them, moral aspect of it, you know, you're there. You've literally raised the beacon for that. We appreciate that.
It's my honor.
We appreciate that. But what I'm trying to conclude the question here now is that how long have you intended to put a stop on the hunger strike from your point of view? How long is your cut point?
I honestly don't know at the moment. This is new territory for me. I've never been, as I said, I'm on the third day and I've never fasted for 3 days. So this is new. I don't know how long it's going to go on for. You know, I mean, I don't want to do any damage to myself in terms of health. So that's the cutoff where perhaps where I lose my lucidity, as I said, the clear thinking, or when I start suffering physically in some way. But as long as I feel I'm healthy, I will carry on.
And how long would it take this cause then, the genocide cause, on behalf of the people of Amhara? How far would you be able to take it then?
Oh, well, I mean, it's even after fasting, I'm not going to forget. And my journal is coming out in September, so that's when I will publish my own article. We're already writing.
May I ask what's the journal, and if you give us the details of your journal?
My journal is to do with Palestine, to be honest.
Okay.
But through Palestine, I'm trying to make analogies with other types of issues of where people do not have liberty and, who are being persecuted. So through Palestine, I'm trying to make these analogies with other people who are suffering similar injustice, oppression, genocide. Yeah, so that's what my journal is all about. But I'm not going to wait till September to publish the article. I'm also doing things. So, as I said, I'm going to write this personal story of this guy, and then he will have that. He will have that to distribute and to publish, where perhaps in newspapers. I mean, because the newspapers are always interested in personal stories. So perhaps we can get that into a newspaper. We're writing a letter to the Archbishop because he is interested in the persecution of Christians around the world. So maybe we can attract him to this cause, and maybe he'll make a statement. And if he makes a statement about this, that it's a genocide even, then that will influence the British establishment, the politicians. So if we can gather him to our cause, and we can gather the Christian community in this country to our cause, wow, I mean,
That's great, yeah, that's really good. I mean, I appreciate that you've taken the call.
Yes.
Of the people of Amhara and the genocide. We do appreciate that, and I hope many more like you join the cause.
Yeah.
So it can be heard throughout the globe. I mean, we live in a global village, so these things should be heard, but because of other factors, they're quite suppressed. You managed to jog and notice this in the heart of London. But these things have been happening for the last 30 years in Ethiopia, the genocide of Syria. In the last 4 years, because of conflicts within Ethiopia, the aspect of genocide have been cropping up on the mainstream media as well. But it hasn't been focused to kind of have a remedy for it. So if you have any message for Ethiopian Tribune followers, I'll give you the last chance to kind of end the interview.
I would say reach out to every possible avenue, community that you can reach out to. So, Jamaicans, whatever, Rastafarians are interested in Ethiopia, reach out to them. Reach out to what we have over there every other day or something are the Ukrainians.
The cause of Ukrainians,
yes.
They do.
And they are also, they are always calling Putin a terrorist. And Putin funds the Oromo Liberation Front. Right? He provides military hardware to the Oromo Liberation Front. So let's make a connection there. They're fighting Russia, and Russia supports the Oromo Liberation Front. There are connections to be made all over the place. And so, reach out to every other community, make the connections, and get solidarity for your cause. Yeah?
Thank you for your time. I didn't get your name again. What's your?
Mursah.
Mursah. It's a beautiful name. Thank you. Nice to meet you. የወደትዬ እናሳርጋት